Are you looking to grow revenues, increase profitability, or obtain financing? If so, you came to the right place.
Running a business is all about leadership. How do you become a better leader? Learn from the successful entrepreneurs and business owners how to lead your organization more effectively. That's why we created Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business, to help you succeed with your host, Andrew Frazier, Business Growth Pro and CFO and founder of the Small Business Pro University. Every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, we're joined by experienced entrepreneurs and business owners who share their secrets to success via Livestream. Also, every Friday morning, we release a new podcast episode. Either way, you will learn about developing your business leadership skills from our roster of highly performing guest experts. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbpro.u.com.
Good evening and welcome back to Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. I'm your host, Andrew Frazier, and excited to hang out with you once again on Tuesday evening. As you know, we talk about leadership because as a business owner, leadership is one of the most important things that's going to differentiate you and help you be successful with your business. So that's why we focus on bringing you great leaders in different fields with different expertise to help you build your leadership skills and have an opportunity to learn new things so that you can be more successful in your business. So definitely appreciate everybody tuning in. For those of you who are tuning in live or those of you tuning in after the fact, we welcome you. As you know, feel free to ask questions, post comments, and let's make it interactive and have a good time this evening. So this evening, very excited. I've got special guest, Tim Redmond. And, the topic's important because, everybody makes mistakes, but the magnitude of your mistakes can determine whether you're successful or not. So, so definitely learning how to avoid the costly mistakes that even smart people make is a great topic, a great thing to, get our arms around. And our guest, is an expert at that. He's done it for his businesses. He's helped other business owners, and he's taken the time to hang out with us tonight. So our guest is Tim Redmond, and come on, Tim. How you doing, Tim?
Hey, welcome. Good to see you, Andrew. I'm really excited to join you and have our interaction here. So it's a good time.
Excellent. So we had a chance to chat and got to learn a little bit about you and some of the things that you've done, and really what you've taken away from them. And you wanted to share that with others to help them be more successful. Right. Successful is great. So definitely. Thanks for coming in. Take a few minutes. It's always important to understand where people are coming from and what their journey is. And, you've had a pretty interesting journey. So it'd be great if you could take a few minutes and just really talk a little bit about where you started, where you are, and sort of some of the key steps along the way. Sound good?
Yeah. Well, I tell you, I'm going to get real personal tonight, and I hope it's okay for the folks here. So I was born at a really early age. Of course, I'm sorry. It's not going to be that kind of cornball dad humor. Okay. It just slipped out, but I'm one of 11 kids, and my mom and dad love sex or love kids or both. So one of 11 kids. So I grew up in a very dynamic environment where there's never subtle whenever we went, but I was very shy and very, very quiet. We had loud mouths in our family, but I was more the quiet one, very, very introverted. But I had a number of very challenging things that happened to me. I was in a car accident. My brother actually was passed away and was killed in that. And I was left to die, and I had to actually, they didn't expect me to survive. And if I was, I wasn't going to be normal. I was just going to be dribbling over myself the rest of my life. But I believe in divine interaction and intervention here. I had to learn to read and write all over again in high school. Went on to college, studied accounting, worked for PriceWaterhouseCoopers. They're a international accounting firm, and worked there. Then I joined a software company. The founder and myself grew this company up to about 400 employees, about $40 million a year. And we sold it to Intuit, which is the makers of Quicken, QuickBooks, TurboTax. And so I went to work for them for a little bit. And then I went traveling around the world, sharing on these concepts I learned growing these businesses and consulting on growth, how to grow your organization. And I spoke in business groups, conferences, pastors' conferences and churches, political groups, really leadership groups all over the world, talking about effective leadership and how to grow your organization, how to develop leaders in your ranks. And I kept having people, after I got done with a growth seminar, people would come up and say, "Hey, do you offer coaching?" And I said, "Well, yeah, what's your question? Sure, let me coach you right now." Not realizing that there are coaching organizations that develop multi-million-dollar enterprises, which is where I'm at now. We had so many coaching requests here that I actually began a coaching organization, and now we coach about 150 business owners around the U.S. and Canada. I've got a whole team of coaches, and we specialize in 10xing people's business. So that's a little bit of my background. I love what I do, Andrew. I tell you, I got so many stories of people that were a slave to their business, and they've just been set free. They own their business. They've got all kinds of freedom to give to nonprofits and their churches, to take great trips, to chase their wife around all over really awesome places, or spouse around, a husband or a wife. I know I promised my wife, we have 4 kids, 4 very awesome kids, thanks to my wife, but had 4 kids. She did a lot of the raising on those. And so right now I promised that I'm going to chase her around really exotic resorts all over the world. So that's my mission right now, besides helping to grow businesses.
Excellent. So I'm not quite where you are yet, but I'm working on it.
Yeah.
Definitely my wife would be excited about having the opportunity to spend more time and travel more and do great things.
Yeah.
So,
Another thing, Andrew, that I love to do is I've got all these coaches that I've poured into, and they're really good at turning around these companies. And so now we're continuing to grow our coaching business, but I'm now looking at buying businesses and turning them around, and then having the coach get part of the equity. And we actually want to start growing our own businesses. And so we're on the lookout for some great businesses to buy. That's for sure.
Okay, no, that's a great way to do it. I've looked at buying some businesses as well, and there's nothing like being able to come in and really help an organization be more successful, because it impacts so many people in a good way. So yeah, so you talked a little bit about your journey, starting out. I think some of your experiences with a lot of siblings and the accident and other things sort of probably molded you and crystallized you in a certain way. So what would you say gave you the drive to do all that you've done? Because a lot of people never really reach their potential or make the effort to do it, but you obviously have.
Well, yeah, and it's been it hadn't been a smooth journey. It's full of bumps and bruises and running my head into walls and being difficult to live with. And so I've grown a lot. I mean, the road to success isn't like this hockey stick that we like. It's more like a up and down. Getting there. I'm 61 years old, and I feel like I'm like starting into my prime here.
Okay.
And just last year, I created a 25-year business plan because I plan on just staying active in stuff for a while. But the drive, a lot of the drive is, well, it's like I met death. And I thought, well, you might as well, as long as I have breath, I might as well live all I can. But also being raised in a big family, there were times that were real good and plenty of provision, all that. But there's also some tough times. I mean, we would work. We went to work early as kids, and we'd give half our income to our parents, and they put half of that in savings, and half of that would help support the family. And so I have a drive to make enough money so I can chase my wife around crazy places. I haven't always been that. When I started this nonprofit after we sold our business to Intuit, and I funded several $100,000 into that, but it got to a point where we went through those funds, and it was really challenging at times. There was some investments. I lost over $1 million in investments, and it's almost like I had to restart, Andrew. It wasn't pretty. People say, well, gosh, I just wish I had your life. I said, don't want that much pain. Don't desire. But I tell you what, there's never a wound that's wasted. There's never a pain that doesn't propel you forward in your destiny. And I'm very, very confident of that. But a lot of my drive has to do with the want to of seeing what's in my inside world and what I'm capable of, and making that happen on the outside world. Okay. And I'm live a very lively life on the inside. Really make sure I spend time building up my inside world, because that projects into the outside world.
Yeah, and resilience is like really important for business owners. Like you said, there's ups and downs, and a lot of times you have higher highs and lower lows.
Oh, man.
So definitely you got to be resilient and believe in yourself and have faith to be able to continue the journey.
Yeah. It's, I mean, you just have to keep on getting up. And I know there's several times where I was just knocked down, give up. I mean, even, my first few days of being born, I had a cleft palate and I had other complications. My parents, the doctor said didn't expect to live past a week. So they rushed me in there to get baptized by the priest. And this priest, there's many very, very good priests. I'm not against the Catholic Church and priest. I was raised in that and loved it. Just so many good men and women of God in there. But this guy, when he looked at the deformity of my mouth, it was almost like my mom said he announced a curse. It's like, this boy will never be a preacher, and he'll never be a public speaker. And it was like a curse that weighed down on me. I know there's some folks watching right now that they've had certainly things that happen. It was like a curse that they can't break. And I remember just going through my teenage years and busting through that, because I lived under the shadow of that. That's part of why I was so shy. And now I speak for a living. I've spoken to groups of 20,000 people. I preach to them even too, because I'm a man of faith, and using the Bible. Mm-hmm. And so, it was just the opposite of that curse. And the very stumbling blocks there were actually became my stepping stones. And it's not just a pretty little story. It's like, yeah, it's sweating and tears and all kinds of struggle, but you just keep on doing it, because I'm telling you, the world needs the person watching this right now. I'm telling you, Andrew, I'm in touch. the world needs all of you to come out. I'm just telling you right now, the world is starving for your leadership gift to come out boldly. So that's what I would say to the folks watching this.
Excellent. No, definitely. You know, you've worked with like so many different businesses, and I'm sure you start to see patterns in some of the big challenges that they face, and you start to notice that these are some of the solutions that they need to have. And I think that's why I wrote my book, and probably why you wrote your book as well. So can you talk a little bit about some of the common mistakes that business owners make, and some examples?
So we've worked with in excess of 2,000 companies, business owners over the years. And some of the biggest challenges here is they have a product or service, and I'll ask them, well, who's your target market? Everybody needs this. And it's like, well, here's the thing I would say to that. Because when you try to be all things to all people, you're ineffective. You're not an expert in anything. And so I have this line here that I think will be really helpful to these beautiful people that are part of this show here. And that is that you can widen your reach by narrowing your focus. By narrowing your focus, you're going to widen your reach. Don't be afraid to be an expert. Don't be afraid to have this problem that you solve, or this service you provide, or this product here, and get real specific. We get so general sometimes. I talk to a lot of other coaches, and well, what do they do? What are you coaching? And they give me a list of 25 things, and I'm like, yeah, but what are you an expert in? I don't know what to buy. I don't, so we don't get real clear with what we're selling. We don't have a real clear problem that we're solving, and we haven't defined the people that have that problem. Don't be afraid of getting real specific, and you can grow from there. Another thing, Andrew, is it's like we don't have that distinction of how we're better than our competition. We lack what Seth Godin calls is a purple cow. That is, he wrote a book on that called The Purple Cow about 20 years ago. And he was driving out of Paris, vacation with his kids, 2 kids in the back. And the kids would go, they drive by a farm. The kids would freak out. Look at the cows, look at the cows. And they did that for 4 or 5 farms. And then they passed another farm, and Seth is like, hey, kids, look at the cow. There are more cows. And they're like, yeah, we've already seen them all, And then he thought about that. He said, you know what? If there was a bright, shiny purple cow in the middle of those brown and black and white cows, those kids would still be talking about it 20 years later, And so the question I've got is, what is your purple cow in your business, your product here? What makes you different? Why should people choose you and not choose your next door neighbor, your competitor? Have a reason. And I'm telling you, we have fun with actually creating one of our documents we create for our clients. Is called the One Sheet, and we compare the company that we're highlighting with a typical type of company they compete against. And so I was working with this plumber, and I remember he drove in. He was actually lived in Tulsa, and he drove into our parking lot, and I saw this sign on the side of his van, and it's like, we wear belts. And so I said, what's that all about? What, we wear belts? He said, plumbers are famous for showing their butt cracks when they work on under the sink or on the tub or cleaning the drain. And so we guarantee there's no butt cracks showing on our jobs. And so we actually made that part of this purple cow. We offered a no butt crack guarantee. Honest to goodness. If you see our butt crack during our job, labor is free. And people would call up, and they would be like, is this the no butt crack guarantee plumbing company? Yeah, we're that. Well, come on out, and so his business just tripled in growth. You've got to be, you got to stand out. Seth Godin actually said this: if you're not remarkable, you're invisible. So why am I excited at 8:00 at night? I've been up since before Jesus woke up this morning. I mean, it's been early, but I'm pumped because there's people attached to the show that need to show their purple cow. I could go on for, pricing. A lot of times we don't, when people are talking to you about pricing, it's because the value was not conveyed of what you're selling. If they're insistent on talking about pricing, value hasn't been conveyed. So anyways, what I would say here is most business owners undervalue the value they create. They undervalue it, okay? And if they can just realize and put out those purple cows and make that experience or that product or that service unique, then they can raise their price. Almost every time, Andrew, when we come into a client here, we across the board raise their prices 10%. And if they're cranking out a 12% profit, boom, now they're at 22%. Now they can start making enough profit to fund their own growth. Okay. And so that's what we want. People like, don't be, you're so concerned, and I get it with you. You are very honest and very straightforward, very principle driven person. So I'm assuming that that's your listenership. That's your readership. That's the folks that follow you and watch this. And so the challenge with people like you and me is we're so concerned about being fair to our customer that we're not always fair to ourselves. So the pricing is it. There's all kinds of having a sales workflow, having scripts that you've written that actually work. We help you do all that stuff. So there's so many different things on how to hire people and how to attract high energy people and have them stay in your business. That's going to make or break your business. Especially today, people they show up, late, drunk, or high, or all three, and they expect to get a blue ribbon or a trophy just for showing up. It's like, come on, get off your blessed assurance and work, So it's like an act of God to have an employee that shows up that wants to work, So there's so many other things I can go into. I mean, I can go on for about 4.5 hours.
Well, let's dig into a few things that you said, because you said some extremely valuable stuff, and I really like how you conveyed them. One of the things I always say is, marketing and sales is your most important job, and if you don't do that well, you're not going to have a good business. So that's really where it seems like you dig in and really help people move forward. How do you educate people on marketing and sales? Because most people go into business really don't know that much about marketing or sales, may not even know there's a difference between marketing and sales. What do you see, and how do you really approach them in the beginning to prepare them?
All right. So what's the difference between marketing and sales? So I'm going to use one of my favorite authors, Ellie Goldratt. He wrote a number of books on the goal, it's not luck, and just all kinds of things on the manufacturing. And he said marketing, and of course, I'm a redneck from Oklahoma. Okay. So you folks up there in the Northwest, give me some grace, please. But marketing is getting the ducks to fly over your head. Sales is actually shooting them down. If you've been a duck hunter, or if you hate killing any animals, I apologize. My views do not represent the host of this fantastic podcast. So, when you think about marketing, you want to get people's attention. Really, you're wanting them to turn their head. You want them to say, what is it that they offer? Ooh, I've got this pain. Boom, they got the solution. So, I want to think about marketing. I really begin with marketing and looking at a business and say, well, what marketing has worked and what hasn't worked? And what people do is they hire experts that sometimes are more clueless than they are, frankly. It really gets me upset spending these people's precious money. And they'll go out there and they'll say, we'll get leads coming in no time. They go out there and they very sloppily just buy a bunch of Google ads and hoping that something will happen. And we got talked to so many frustrated business owners on that. So I like to say, well, what's worked? How do people hear about you now? And let's do more of that. So that's a good way to start on marketing. And really making sure you're clear on your purple cow. You're clear on offering what we call a no-brainer offer. Okay, so that's very, very important here. So you make an offer so irresistible that they'd have to be an idiot to turn you down. That's so many people do not offer a no-brainer offer. And so that's all part of the marketing to get people to come in so you can have the conversation. And then sales is actually determining their needs upfront and personal, and then showing on how we can meet those needs and give them an easy track to get involved in this. There's some people that they've got to explain 2 hours on how their stuff works to get involved, and people check out. Make it super easy to how to get started with you. With us, it's just, give us a call or set up a growth plan. Now, a growth plan, that's something I'm going to offer to the people here. We're going to waive the normal fee. It's a pretty expensive process, but it's a very, very powerful thing that we do. But we make it super easy for people to get started with us, super easy for people to buy from us, super easy for them to be able to measure their results that they're getting from what they bought from us.
Okay. No, definitely. I mean, sometimes as a business owner, you get stuck in the details and you forget about the customer. And I think, definitely what you're talking about, making it easy, making an offer that makes it something that they can't say no to is key. But
here's an idea on a no-brainer offer.
Okay.
Let's say that you sell popsicles or windows or remodeling. We work with a lot of contractors. We work with a lot of healthcare professionals, specialty docs, urgent care centers. And so, with a remodeler, with a carpet cleaner, hey, we'll clean the first two rooms for $1 a piece. If you let us do the whole house, that's like a no-brainer offer. Or the first visit's only $1. If we come out there to your place to service you, the service fee is only $1. And then something like, are you kidding me? That's what well, how are you going to make money on that? There's all kinds of ways. You're not going to make money sitting on your butt at home with nobody calling you. You're not going to make money that way. You got to have conversations with people. You got to interact with people. And that's how we create that. So, but go ahead with your point here.
Okay. So definitely, those are key pieces, but you talked about a lot of marketing is not a good investment, or it does not end up being a good investment for business owners. And, one of the ways I sort of see is, a lot of marketing education is focused on marketing for big companies.
Right.
And as a small company, you almost have to do the opposite of what a big company does to market successfully, because your strengths are their weaknesses and their strengths are your weaknesses.
Yeah.
What are some of the other major marketing mistakes that businesses make?
Well, okay. So one of the biggest things they do, we have this thing called reputation marketing. So there's a proverb from the Bible, it's Proverbs 27:2, and I call it Proverbs 27:2 marketing. And what that is, the verse says, "Don't praise yourself; let other people do it for you." So you're at the housetop and at the mountaintop just yelling, come to me, I've got this great product. And people are like, well, who gives a rat's behind what you're saying? How do I know that that's good? Well, this is where we actually set people up in their Google My Business. And this is going to be a real key here. Set up your Google My Business, fill it out thoroughly, and then start to gain Google reviews from real people, not this fake stuff that goes on. Here we've got almost 400. Actually, we've had well over 400 Google reviews. And then Google, just to show that they're the god of the world here, pretty much, the god of the internet, they took away about, over the period of 2 years, they took away about 58 Google reviews. Okay. But we're still almost at 400 Google reviews, a 5-star Google reviews. Well, these are other contractors and doctors saying, you know what? You can trust Tim Redmond. You can trust his crew. Here's the results I got. So if you have other people singing your praise, you come in with their credibility. Okay. And so for you to start a lot of marketing without really building that word of mouth buzz, and then having their comments and their praise on a public forum like a Google My Business and leaving Google reviews. That's so key. So you have a foundation. The foundation for your growth is built on your reputation. So we've got to make that from individual people knowing that to that's available in the public, so the whole public is there. So that's huge. There's a lot of people that start spending money on Facebook and on Google on Google ads without really having any kind of track record out there with testimonials. And don't just put a bunch of testimonials on the website. People don't believe that that's true, especially if you say LP or AG or some initials. Put their picture of the person and their full name there. It's Andrew the Man is recommending this. Andrew Frazier said boom, 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 or Tim Redmond said boom, boom, boom. So it's really, really important that we begin our marketing on making public the reputation you've already worked for years at developing one-on-one with people.
Okay.
Being a person of your word.
And that's actually the best marketing you can have. Sometimes it takes a while to build that, though.
But yeah, we there's people either have some contact with at least 50, 75, 100 people. They may have customers, but even Google reviews with people that know your character. Like we work with a lot of contractors, home builders, and remodelers, and plumbers, and all kinds of people, contractors that do that kind of work. And contractors have a horrible reputation to take your money and they run or do crap, the sloppy work here, and they don't want to show up when something doesn't work. And so it's not hard to stand out, in a field of mediocrity. Just care a little bit. And but if friends of yours that know your character says, hey, listen, I've known him for 22 years. He's a man of his word. If he says it, he'll do it. Take it to the bank. Even having those, if you don't have a lot of customers, if you're early in it, but don't be afraid to go to customers and say, hey, how'd you like your last service or the last product? Wow, I loved it, man. Can't wait to buy it again. It's like, boom, could you do me a big favor? And then you make it real easy. I actually send out the link that when they click on it on their cell phone, it goes right out to them leaving a review on my site. So it's not that hard. We have a lot of clients that within the first 2 and 3 months of working with them, they're north of 50 and 80, even 100 Google reviews. And now we have a process that we do about 98% of the work for them, but there's no reason they can't get their own Google reviews. And so that's not the only marketing. It's just having your reputation, leveraging it. I would also say this: crawl, walk, then run. When you're spending money on an advertising somehow, start out slow with it. Now, man, I got $5,000, man. I'm just gonna blow it here. And 2 weeks later, you don't realize that there's something from the Bible I wrote a book on it. It's called First Be Fruitful, Then Multiply. And I'm not trying to shove anything down anybody, but just these are principles that I live by. Don't shove it down anybody's throat. But first be fruitful, then multiply. Because if you multiply before you're fruitful, you're going to multiply unfruitfulness. Whoa, that's a thought. Okay. And so that's what a lot of us are doing. We're multiplying unfruitfulness. So, start out with that and make sure that your ads, they have a compelling offer, a no-brainer offer. And then the biggest thing is, how do they get a hold of you to take advantage of this offer? The phone number, the biggest thing. Who cares about your logo? I love my logo. I've got to have dominating. Just make that thing disappear. Who cares? Just take a picture of yourself, or take a picture of a blank wall. It doesn't matter. What matters is you're offering them something, a no-brainer offer that is able to talk about their problem and promise a solution, and then provide proof. And that's the way I like to sell, is get into their problem, give them a huge promise, and provide proof that you'll make good on that promise. And that proof is those testimonials from people, videos, things that they write. So is that helpful here? Or is that too?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great way to look at it. One of the key things to market and sell successfully is, think of it as people got to know you, like you, and trust you.
Yeah, that's really good.
How better than if other people are recommending you, because that really takes you really far in a short period of time.
Yeah.
So, definitely that strategy and the ways that you're thinking about it make a lot of sense. And you can even do this if you're just starting in business. Like you said, you've got people who know you. So excellent. So now, one thing that you talked about. Oh.
One thing real quick here with people. All right. We built the first 100 clients of ours by cold calling. Now listen just for a second, because it's going to be helpful to somebody. And we built a flourishing coaching company based on a 99.75% rejection rate. We would sell to 1 out of 400 people. So here's a big thing when you're getting started here, because that's what you mentioned, that audience, is you've got to you got to be like numb to when people say no. And you just have to keep on plugging. You have to be energized when people reject you. It's just, you got to play the game, or you can have a empty wallet. You can be poor, or you can step through what's uncomfortable and just keep on doing it. And I've got so many stories on that with our customers. It's just, people are deathly afraid of the no, and having to call people, inconvenience people, and people that don't know rejecting them. Who gives a rat's behind what people think? You want to feed your kids. You want to build a future. People desperately need what you have. So knock on doors and make it happen.
Okay.
I hope it's not too crude of me to say.
No, this is perfect, because I had that conversation earlier today with someone I'm working with, and I was like, you need to start cold calling. You need to work on your scripts. You got to, and she was in the Army. So I was like, you did basic training. There's no reason why you can't do this.
Endurance. They keep you moving when you want to give up, and you get yourself up. Just care about your wallet, care about your future, to push through what's uncomfortable. There's one guy who wrote a book, and he's a Dr. Mark Schoen, but he wrote a book, and he said in there, the number one skill for the 21st century is, and I'm going to share that the next time I'm on your show. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, wait. I've been meaning to take a commercial, so we're going to take a 1-minute commercial break
I'll
to
give it
learn a
back.
little bit about the Small Business Pro University, which we do the show through, and then Tim's going to come back and tell you something super important.
Yeah.
Fair enough?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you own your business, or does it own you? Is your business growing, and are you making enough money? As a business owner, there are so many things you need to know to become more successful. Hello, my name is Andrew Frazier, the Business Growth Pro and CFO. I created the Small Business Pro University for you. Small Business Pro University has self-paced, dynamic, multimedia learning experiences created by more than 20 instructors who are business owners just like you. Small Business Pro University will empower you to become a masterpreneur by learning the secrets to creating a successful enterprise, to go from working in your business to working on your business. Take advantage of our strategic coaching program, or just simply choose the courses that you need. At www.sbprou.com, we will empower you to thrive and not just survive, and make more money in any business environment. Great. Welcome back to Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. I'm here with Tim Redmond, and we're just chatting about some things that could be very important for you in terms of your success in sales and marketing and growing your business. But Tim was just about to tell us, the most important skill that people need to have in this environment.
Yeah. So Dr. Mark Schoen is a psychologist and just brilliant man, and wrote a book on our anxiety and different aspects. But he said the number one skill for the 21st century is learning to be comfortable in discomfort. We're so afraid of discomfort that will rob enriching our wallet, our bank account, because of that discomfort. We're so afraid of it, and we've got to get comfortable with it. It's just lean into it. You become who you become because of some of the scars that you've endured and some of the things that you've pushed through, and it's time to push through here. It's like, what's been waiting for a massively bold version of you just to come into the marketplace to talk about what you have to offer, and just get numb to the no, just play the opposite of it. Just, they're saying no, you just say, well, you just didn't explain it clear enough here, but maybe I'll explain it more clearly next time. And it's yours for the taking, but success is on the far side of endurance and hanging in there and just pounding it. I used to be a wrestler, and we would prepare, we'd work out like crazy just to be strong in the third period, and so many of you are in the third period, and you want to tap out, and you want to give up. And I'm just telling you, it's time to stand up when you feel like sitting down. It's time to move forward when you feel like falling back, man. Today's your day. That's what I would say.
Yep. And they say it's always darkest before the dawn.
Yeah.
So if you're going through some bad times, that's a good thing usually, because you're close to where you want to be. So we've been talking a lot about marketing and sales, which is really, really important. Yeah. But there's other pieces that are key, but that's the first piece you have to figure out if you're going to have a successful business.
Right.
But you also talked a little bit about building your team and leadership and developing a team around you. And what are some key things that you need to do to be able to build a successful? How can you prepare yourself to be able to do that successful?
Good. Well, first of all, Don't just tell the way, show the way. Be a good team member, be a good leader, be an example. Learn to go inward before you go outward. Go inward, take personal responsibility before you go outward to jab. And jabbing is justifying and advising and blaming people that aren't asking for your feedback here. And so we got to make sure that we become contagious. If everybody was like you in your company, would your company grow or shrink? And so bring some energy into it. I was just working with my son. He's 26. He's built like a Greek statue. He's played football in college, and he's got a online fitness, and he does really well with it. But it's like, it's like this business is just going to stare at you unless you pour energy into it. Just intense energy into it. And he did, and he has had a blockbuster month on it, just really killing it. So another thing that's really important is to understand respect from a different perspective. Respect is not so much something you demand. Respect is like a gift that you give. What is respect? It's valuing the differences without having to agree or disagree. It's empathizing and valuing that person and their perspective. It's really, really important to do that. And respect is reciprocated. When you respect people, even if they're not worthy of your respect, you begin to draw something out of them if you're consistent with it. So many times we become, with our employees, we become like we are with our kids, where we lose it, we fly off the handle, and they're our kids, where they're going to go, but employees will go somewhere else. And so respecting is really valuing what they've got to bring to the table. I go to my staff all the time, and I'm saying, what stupid thing are we doing that we need to stop? Or what is the one thing that we're not doing, but we should be doing? It's so stupid that we're not doing that. So I'm always wanting to get feedback from people on that. So really, really important. I think to build team, you've got to have a vision. You've got to have a vision that's compelling. I've got coaches, and these coaches have a lot of times the coaching in our kind of work is it's a high turnover business. But I've had coaches from early 20s, and now they're in their mid 20s or in the 30s here. They've been with me for a while because I've given them a vision of how they can build not only their knowledge and their learning, but they're in a process here of the learning, and then they're in an earning, so they can go into returning. That's how life goes. And so, in buying these businesses, they know that I'm going to let them buy a portion of it at a discount, just so they can really start building their wealth. And so it's a vision for not just to grow my company, but to grow their wealth as well. And so the vision's got to be compelling. It's got to be encompassing. It's got to be, exciting. And if your vision is not exciting you, how can you expect it to excite other people? So that's why it's so good to call people like Andrew, have them talk to you, have them coach you to get you, charged up and charging ahead with what you're doing. Wouldn't you say that, Andrew? What you do is mindset and just helping people stay in the game.
Right. Mindset, encouragement. As a business owner, it can be very lonely. And, it's hard to find people you can talk to about what you're going through. So that's why it's good to have a coach, because they've usually been there. They've seen it. They can see around the corner and see where you're going and let you know what it looks like around the corner. And they can tell you which corner to go around and which corner not to go around.
Yeah. Look, working with 2,000 companies, I've already solved problems that most of my new clients hadn't even run into yet.
Mm-hmm.
I've already solved it. So it's just, it's just lather, rinse, repeat. It's like work with people that have already solved problems that you're facing now, and even that you're going to be facing when you hit that 300,000, that 600,000, that $1 million mark. And let's go to 2 million, now 5 million. There's different distinctions that happen in the business that need to be incorporated as you grow that. And so, it's like Andrew and I have done that many, many times. And so that's where, and I'm so into the coaching. I mean, I've got like 4 coaching companies right now working on our company in different aspects because I take my own medicine.
Yes, definitely. You got to continually learn, continually develop. I learn stuff every day, every week, and that's why I love what I do because, so, the one thing I hate about this show is it seems like an hour is a long time, but it's not a long time because we're almost up on an hour, but, it feels like we're just getting started. So, we'll have to, chat about some of this again, bring you back. But what I like to do is, we always talk about so many great things, but most people's minds can only wrap themselves around 3 things. So maybe if you could leave them with 3 things that they could take away from what we talked about tonight that they should start working on tomorrow. Take a minute to think about it, and I'm going to share another video and some info, and then we'll come back and you can hear Tim's top 3. Sounds good. Yeah. So this is a little bit about the event that we do, and if you are looking to increase revenues, improve profitability, and or obtain financing for your business, you need to check out the Power Breakfast and Small Business Pro conferences. My name is Andrew Frazier. One of the things we're here to do is supercharge your day.
Today's Power Breakfast has really been a phenomenal experience. I think it's exactly what business owners need, some true guidance of people who are genuine and really are leading them in the true direction of business growth and expansion.
The Power Breakfast is so important for the entrepreneurial community because it gives the various business people who come together an opportunity to interact and also do some business.
These events, hosted by Andrew Frazier, President and COO of Small Business Like a Pro, will supercharge your day.
So welcome back to Leadership Live. I'm here with Tim Redmond. You heard a little bit about the Power Breakfast, and our next one's actually going to be October 28th. So if you're in the New Jersey area, we invite you to come out. Put the link in the chat, but always a good time, great relationships, and we've been doing it for 10 years now. So we've had a lot of success. Helping entrepreneurs, helping business owners get financing and grow. So definitely encourage you to check it out. And back to Tim, we've talked about some great stuff today, and really love your energy. I think everybody does. And I feel like I'm older than you now because you had so much more energy. So tomorrow I need to step it up. Share a few things that people should start doing tomorrow if they're not doing already.
Number one here. Let me think about it here. Number one is get yourself built up on the inside. You've got gifts, you've got internal wiring, you've even had challenges that make you better. Build yourself up because you're going to project whatever you feel about yourself and the world around you. It's called your emotional state. So you want to build your emotional state up because that's really the first thing that people buy into when they buy from you. And so, if you had a friend that spoke to you the way you speak to yourself, would they still be your friend? If you had a friend that spoke to you the way you speak to yourself, would they still be your friend? And so what I would say is stop speaking to my friend that way. You speaking to yourself is what I'm saying. So build yourself up and just talk about your vision. Talk about it out loud. Just really get excited. So you're built up. So you're going out built up here and not, you don't look like a bad investment and you're like, well, hey, I want you to buy my stuff. Well, who gives a behind? Just bring some energy. All right. Number 2 is know who you want to go after. What is the problem that you make go away? What's your promise on removing what problem? Get super clear on that and look for those people and keep knocking on the door. It doesn't matter. You have to think about like a Thomas Edison trying to invent the light bulb. He had 10,000 different ways it didn't work. Just keep on knocking, is what I'm saying. And number 3 is make it super easy for people to take the next step with you. Yeah, the next step here is to pay this $10,000 fee and boom. Well, that may be too big of a step. What can they do to taste what you've got, to trial what you've got, to have a mini course of what you're offering, and make it easy for people to come on board. When you do that, I think it's going to help you out, and it's something I believe you can start tomorrow, if not right now.
Okay, outstanding. So start with yourself, and when you build yourself, it projects outwards, and you got to be clear about what you're doing, your problem, what your solution is, and who needs your solution. And finally, make it easy for people to do business with you.
Yeah.
Those are great things that every business owner needs to do. So this has been very valuable. We've had quite a few good comments. Definitely, I think that people get a lot out of it. And you really look at it in a great way. You talk about it in simple terms. This is what you need to do. We don't have to make it rocket science.
Yeah,
So.
and really, Andrew, if people want to experience like a growth plan with me, a growth plan is we're going to take a look at what's going good and bad in your business. We're going to really take a look at where you're at and where you want to be in 3 years. And then we're going to create a business model for what your business can be. And then we begin to build concrete steps to get to that 3-year plan. You're going to see it immediately. We normally charge $2,500 for that because it literally, it usually adds $100,000 of profit to a business within the next 12 months, just using what we have in that growth plan. It's very, very powerful. We waive that fee. If they leave you a 5-star review, or they say, hey, I love Andrew, I love the Small Business Pro, it's just some kind of the thumbs up for you, then we will waive that. They can email me, Tim at Redmond Growth, or go out to our website there, fill out the thing, and just say, hey, I'm with the Small Business Pro, I'm with Andrew Frazier, and boom, we'll waive that fee.
Oh, outstanding.
Love to be able to do it. And it's got to be it's not a business that you want to start someday. It's actually a business already in operation. That is, we'll take a look at the processes are just you'll look at your business in a whole new set of eyes that just really is just powerful. So
outstanding. Thank you for that offer. And for people, it's in the chat, but your website is redmondgrowth.com, correct?
Yeah.
So people can go right there, communicate interest, and take advantage of that. That's a great opportunity, and definitely appreciate your offer.
Yeah.
So, Tim, it's been great having you here tonight.
I thoroughly enjoyed it, Andrew, and you, man. This has been, and then everything you do. 10 years of having these breakfast power. This is amazing. I mean, I'm loving this.
Okay. Thanks. Well, definitely passionate about what I do. Love to help people, and and you're doing great things too. So, definitely appreciate it. We're going to stay in touch. If you can, hang on for a few minutes while I close it out, and we'll chat for a minute after.
That's great. Good.
Definitely each week, always excited about what we have going on with Leadership Live. Always appreciate everybody tuning in and sort of sharing in what they're learning. I hear great feedback from people. Hopefully this helps you a lot, because this is what it's here for. This is why we do it. Each week we can come back, and looking forward to next week as well. So hopefully you can join us next week. But at the end of the day, if you're in business, the more that you know, the faster your business will grow. And that's what we're here to help you with. So thanks for tuning in.
Thank you for listening to Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbpro.u.com.